bit different. We're going to start standing today just for a little bit, move our body, and then make our way down to the ground. So go ahead, kind of rock back and forth on your feet a little. And then just find a good standing position where it feels like all four corners of your feet are planted on the ground, whatever that means to you. And then inhale, reach arms up. Exhale, bend the knees a little, fold forward. If this doesn't feel good, just bring arms down if folding forward isn't good for you. Shake the head no. Hands to shins. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. And then slowly rise up. Reach up. Palms together. Exhale, thumbs to heart. Inhale, reach arms up. Exhale, bend over to the right. Maybe even grab left wrist with the right hand, but grow tall first. So inhale, reach tall first, and then bend, feeling that stretch in the side body. Inhale, back up to center. Exhale to the other side. Inhale, center. Exhale, sweep arms down and behind you. Interlace fingers behind your back. Gently press away from your body or away from your head. Relax those shoulders down. And then feel also like you're bringing shoulders in opposite directions as well. So it's not just bringing shoulder blades together behind you. There's space between those, and just gentle. Exhale, relax, let go. Inhale, reach arms up. Shoulders down away from ears, and feel like you're picking apples here. So reach one arm up and then the other. And again, keep shoulder away from ear, but stretch it up. So it's not really, it's hiking up a little, but just play around with reaching and feeling a stretch in your back body, more so than just doing the movements. Inhale, reach both arms up. Exhale, sweep arms down behind you. This time we're going to interlace hands, but whatever feels normal, put the opposite pinky on the bottom and gently bring hands down away from the direction of your head. And then feel a little opening of the chest area, front and back. So like those shoulders are pushing in opposite directions just a tiny bit. Like we don't want to mess with shoulders, so just a little bit here. And breathe. Exhale, let go. Inhale, reach arms up once more. Exhale, hinge at the hips, fold forward. Let the head go, shake the head no. If it feels okay, you can even sway a little bit here. Move hips or bend one knee a little more than the other. Just play around with what feels good in your body. Hands to shins, inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. Slowly rise up, reach up. Palms together. Exhale, thumbs to heart. Take one breath here. Bring hands down to your side. We're going to come into a wide-legged forward fold. Don't make it your widest. Like we haven't done a whole lot to warm up here. So just a little wider than normal, whatever feels comfortable. And then play around. We're going to stay up high, so hands can go on hips, thighs, like whatever feels good. Play around with bending into one knee, moving to the other side. Inhaling to center, exhaling to the other side. And just play around with this without forcing. Like this is level one of moving the hips a little. And then just kind of like flow, make it feel good to you. So get curious, like, do knees stay a little bent the whole time? Or do they, do they not? Like, just what feels good and where does it feel tight? And then back to center, heel toe feet back together, and just kind of move hips back and forth a little bit here, just gently. And then you can play around with making circles. It's maybe seems a little crazy, but just we sit we walk, we do everything in front of us. So kind of getting those hips to move and then reverse those directions of those circles can be super beneficial for our health, our spine, our low back. So much is related here. Awesome. Come back to center, and then we'll make our way down to seated, however you want to. Whatever makes sense to you here. Wonderful. Relax, shoulders down away from ears. Grow nice and tall. Bring one ear to one shoulder here. And you play around, just move it around and play around with like what feels good. Where do you need this stretch? Check that you are not holding your breath. I'm pretty famous for that as well. I hear myself talking into my head. Make sure to breathe. Exhale, exhale. And when it feels right, go ahead and move on to the other side. Moving chin around here and just playing around with where do you need that stretch? Where does it feel good to you? Awesome. Bring back to center and maybe just a couple slow neck rolls in a way that feels good to you, pausing wherever you need to. And when it feels right, reverse directions and do a couple the other way, nice and slow, avoiding areas if they really don't feel good. Take a breath to finish up and come back to center. Take one breath here. And we'll move on to hands and knees here. Check that wrists, elbows, shoulders are aligned, and knees and hips. When you're ready, we'll move through a little cat-cow. So first, press shoulders away, just gently. So not at like 100%, but maybe at like 80%. Inhale, bring chest forward, head up. Feel like you're opening collarbones, separating shoulders just a tiny bit again here like we did before when we had hands clasped behind us. Exhale, arch your back. Let your head hang, press away, separating shoulder blades. And then continue that here. Your own breath, your own time. Finish up this last one here. And come back to neutral tabletop. Press up and out of those shoulders again. Lift left leg up, so knee is bent, foot is pushing up toward the ceiling. And just start to bring that knee in some little circles. Just playing around here. Noticing, maybe noticing, man, my leg's heavy. Try to not dip, like we like to lean into the opposite right side. Try not to dip. Try to stay nice and square, even if that means you're not lifting your leg up as high. And the reverse directions of those circles. Beautiful. Finish up that circle and come down to hands and knees. We're going to move back to child's pose. So if you want your knees wide, feel free to make them wide or close together, forehead toward the ground. You can roll those wrists if that would feel good. Just kind of give yourself a break here. If this feels awful, roll around and lie on your back instead. When wrists, everything feels ready, come back onto hands and knees. Gently press out of those shoulders again. And then soften a little. So it's not 110%, it's about 80%. Check that your fingers are comfortably wide, but bring those pinkies in so weight is evenly distributed in your hands. And then lift that right leg up, knee is bent, foot pressing up toward the ceiling. Oh, this one's heavier for me. And then go ahead and start to move that in just little circles. If you notice yourself leaning on that left side, come back. Maybe that means circles aren't as big. That's okay. Just kind of notice here. Make sure you're still breathing. When it feels right, reverse circles. And then go ahead and bring that knee down. Move back to child's pose once more. Again, if it doesn't feel good, lay on your back, hug your knees in, just whatever would feel good. Roll those wrists a little if you'd like. Breathe here. Inhale back onto hands and knees. Go ahead and just take a couple minutes. Knees can be wide here if that feels good, to kind of move those hips back and forth again. Awesome. And then you're going to make your way to lying on your back. So maybe you cross your feet, come to seated, lie on your back, or however it makes sense to you. We are going to do a figure four. So if you want to scoot to where you're by like a wall or a couch to put your leg up on, feel free. Otherwise, knees will be bent and you'll bring right ankle over that left thigh. Yeah, and first just gently press that right thigh away from body a little bit. And breathe. Take some breaths here. Notice, like, if you're gripping anywhere, take some breaths and consciously try to relax that, knowing you're doing the best you can. And then if you want, lift that left leg up. And this is where, if you're by the wall, you can push this left leg against the wall a little bit, or a couch or something. If you want it, some people like to straighten it, some people prefer it bent. Just play around like what feels best to you today. You can do ankle circles with that leg, whatever, but just breathe here. Some people like to clasp their hands to that left thigh. Just make sure shoulders are relaxed and not doing all of the work. They like to show up and be like, hey, I got this. And breathe here. When it feels okay, go ahead and bring that left foot down. Now this doesn't feel okay to everyone. So I'm going to demo it. If it feels good to you, do it. If not, you're going to uncross your legs here. But you can leave legs like this in the figure four and just kind of windshield wiper them a little bit back and forth. Like mine can't go as far as they normally would. Arms can be out to the side. If that doesn't feel good, you can cross a little bit, like you have to go to the bathroom and you're crossing your legs, or just unhook them and just do a regular windshield wiper. Both feet wide to the edges of the mat and moving knees back and forth a little bit. Beautiful. Now uncross here and do whatever you need to do to kind of shake that out. So long body stretch, whatever would feel good before we move into the other side. When you're ready, bring both feet to the mat, knees in the air, and this time your left ankle will cross over your right leg. No rush. And again, just take a couple breaths here. Wonderful. When you're ready, you can lift that right leg. And if you lift that leg too and you're like, ooh, this isn't good, bring it down. Like either way, you're getting a stretch. You can do those ankle circles. You can bring your hand behind that thigh. Just play around with what feels good to you. And notice, like, where am I bringing tension? And try to relax that area. Sometimes that means shaking it a little bit. Like I have to like move my head, shake my head no a little bit to kind of take tension out of my neck and shoulders. And then when you're ready, you bring that foot down. An option to do that little windshield wipering, moving side to side with leg up, or not. Just listen to your body. Some days my body can do this. Some days my back is like, not today. Wonderful. When you're ready, bring both legs up, uncross, stretch those legs long, point with your heels, reach arms up, inhale, big long body stretch. Exhale, relax. One more time, inhale, big long body stretch. Exhale, relax. Awesome. Grab those tennis balls if you have them near you. We will put them on our back, unless you're like top of shoulders, unless you're like, Christy, today my hips, like that felt good. They're screaming and you want them under your hips. Feel free to do that. For me, my upper back needs them more today. So find a spot that feels okay. I like to put them starting at top of my shoulders here. Done this a little bit before, and then I'll kind of like slowly move them down my back. But first, just take a couple breaths with them wherever they are. And then when you're ready, you can play around with breathing and moving your arms. So I start with arms down beside me, then maybe play around with inhaling, raising arms. Maybe they even come behind you. Exhaling, releasing. Just kind of play around with what feels good, or maybe it takes 2 breaths to get there. And start to slow down breath if you can. Maybe noticing inhaling to a count of 4, exhaling to a count of 4, whatever that means to you, just trying to even out inhales and exhales. When you're ready, if you want to find a new space, so if they're on top of shoulders, roll them down a little more. If they're on hips, if you want to find another spot, or if you're like, hey, I'm getting into some good stuff, permission to stay and get into that good stuff. Just always coming back to breath, never feeling like, oh my gosh, I have to press into these to force something to happen. Instead, feeling like the breath helps us deepen and release. Release the tightness. If you're on any spots that are causing you to tense up, move next to them instead of right on them. And go ahead, find one more spot here. You choose. Sometimes I like to just tiny baby movements. Instead of moving my arms, I'll clasp my hands kind of behind my neck, elbows out to the side a little bit. And I will kind of like sway my knees just a tiny bit back and forth. Like they're still up. They're not even going necessarily like totally side to side, but just a little bit. And that can kind of provide a little gentle massage as well. So don't be afraid to play around, just as long as like you shouldn't feel like you're bringing in super tension somewhere, or like you're in pain where it's bringing tears to your eyes. Wonderful. Take one more breath here. And then go ahead and remove the tennis balls. Come down to lying flat on your back. Option to have bolster under your knees or pillow, anything if you'd like, or as always, if you're at home, swinging those legs up on the couch, whatever feels good. And just check in if there's any last like wiggles, movement you need, please feel free to do those. Wonderful. Yeah. Checking in with your body. What more does your body need? When you're ready, no rush, it's your own practice. When you're ready, you can find some stillness, however it feels comfy to you. So if that's seated, lying down, even if it's in a chair, no biggie, just find a way to get comfy to you. Soften the space around your eyes, soften jaw. Let shoulders melt into the floor a little here. Do a little breath practice today. So you're going to inhale through your nose to a count of 4, your own pace, own time. And exhale to that same count of 4. Continue playing around with this even breath. Any thoughts come into your head, no worries. Notice them as thoughts and simply send them away. Or just name them, don't get carried into them. And just come back to your breath if you get distracted. Inhaling, feeling lungs, belly, chest expand. Exhale, slowly letting that air out. Feeling belly button move back in the direction of the floor a little bit, just gently. Such a simple thing, but our breath is related to our emotions, to how we're taking stuff in, to our health, to getting enough oxygen. So just play around with that a bit. We'll expand with this a bit more. Same breath, even inhales, even exhales, count of 4 or maybe higher if needed, whatever feels good to you, but feel as if, imagine your breath is starting at the tips of your toes. And as you inhale, it's moving all the way up the front of your body, all the way to the crown of your head. And as you exhale, it's moving from the crown of your head all the way down the back of your body to heels, soles of the feet. Continue this. Inhaling from the tips of your toes up the front of your body. Exhaling from the crown of your head down the back of your body. Beautiful. Go ahead and let that breath go and just return to whatever breath feels normal to you. And if you're in your head wondering, what the heck is normal breath now? Don't worry. Just whatever you naturally do now is a-okay. Breath can be an amazing practice before bed to help you fall asleep easier when you're lying in bed. Go ahead and deepen your inhales and exhales. Bring tiny little wiggles of movement to fingers and toes. Slowly turn your head from one side to the other. On an inhale, reach arms up above. Give yourself a nice, long, gentle body stretch. One last one. Maybe even moving side to side a little, just playing around. Exhale, go ahead and hug those knees into your body. You choose if you rock around or just give them a little squeeze. And then go ahead and roll on to side of your choice. Take a couple breaths here. And slowly make your way up to seated. Grow nice and tall. Relax. Shoulders down. Bring a smile to your face. Inhale, reach arms up. Palms together. Exhale, thumbs to heart. Pause here. Think of one thing you are thankful for today. And thank you so much for practicing with me today.